There are over 500,000 kids in foster care across the United States, and making sure they're well taken care of takes a village. I'm Erin Lindstrom, and this is Foster Care Aware, a production brought to you by Tidewater Friends of Foster Care with support from the Barry Robinson Center. If you've had it on your heart to become a foster parent, volunteer, donor, advocate, or just want to learn more, you're in the right place. For more information on how to move forward, head to fostercareaware.org/next steps. And now I'm thrilled to share today's segment with you. Hey, I am Erin Lindstrom, and I am joined by Audra Bullock, the President and Director of Tidewater Friends of Foster Care. And from Lutheran Family Services, we have with us Amy Barbour, who's the Regional Manager, and Maurice Gallimore, the Resource Family Specialist. Thank you both for being with us today. We're so excited to chat with you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So to kind of start us off, could you both take a second to just introduce yourselves and then tell us a little bit about Lutheran Family Services? So maybe Amy, if you wanted to start us off, and then we'll head over to Maurice.
Sure. Well, my name is Amy Barbour, and I'm the Regional Manager for our foster care program. I oversee the program in our Richmond office and in our Newport News office. So I serve both those regions. I have been with the agency for 20 years to celebrate my 20th anniversary. Started out as a student intern, really had a passion for working with children and families, and came across Lutheran for my internship, and I've worked in various roles throughout my career at LFS, and am now the regional manager and supervise the program.
Amazing.
Yes, my name is.
How did you get here?
My name is Maurice Gallimore. I'm the Resource Family Specialist. Basically, what I do here, I do the training for staff and individuals who want to be foster and adopt parents. My background is social work and counseling. I've been with the agency for about 17 years. I really enjoy what I do. I think the focus is really building families, and I really like the fact that Lutheran Family Services does a great job of that, and I love this organization.
Amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about what is your greatest need in the way of foster parents right now?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry about that. We tried to plan this beforehand. For our greatest need right now, we are a therapeutic foster care agency, and so we have children that maybe have more of the moderate to severe emotional needs, behavior needs. We're really looking for flexible and open-minded parents that are willing to work with teenagers. Over 60% of our referrals are 13 and older, and so we really have a need for teenagers and also sibling groups, because we really want to keep sibling groups together. And so oftentimes, we're getting referrals for sibling groups of 3 and 4 children, and we just don't have homes that can take all of them. So we're really looking for families that can take sibling groups as well.
Wow, that's great. So maybe Maurice, since you're the resource coordinator, can you tell us what attributes make a successful foster parent, particularly for teens and sibling groups?
Oh, yes, definitely. Basically, we're looking for folks who are flexible, who definitely have the time, the patience. And really, we want folks who are open to being around kids, who really love kids and want to really give back and help children become productive young citizens as they get older. We believe that children function best in family environments and in a community setting. So that's our number one goal. So overall, we want to look for adults who are willing to work with kids who come from a background of trauma, and also adults who are interested in working with children 12 and older.
So are there any requirements like minimum age, marital status? What does the spectrum of foster parents look like for Lutheran Family Services?
You don't have to be married. You could be single, but you have to be an adult. You can't have a child taking care of a child. So you have to be 21 and older. So the number one reason is because we want to focus on an adult who is kind of like the teacher and the child is the student. So you're really being a mentor for these young people and really helping them to be successful and deal with a lot of things that, young people shouldn't have to deal with. So someone who's an adult can really help them and guide them and support them through this process.
Yeah, patience is really important as a foster parent, because we don't always get to understand all the trauma history of the children that come into our home, but we certainly need to help them navigate that. So patience is key. Now, Amy, I know Lutheran Family Services clearly has its origin in the church, but do you need to be Lutheran to be a foster parent for Lutheran families?
No, you do not. So yes, we are supported by the Lutheran Church. We actually started in the late 1800s as a Lutheran orphanage, and have evolved over the years to what we are now. But no, we are definitely supported by the Lutheran Church, and we get a lot of in-kind donations. We have board members that are Lutheran pastors. But no, you don't have to be Lutheran. Employees don't have to be Lutheran. Foster parents don't have to be Lutheran. We are open to everybody.
Amazing. That's so great to know. I know those questions always come up. So that is super clear. You can have any religious background. And I think one of the things that's kind of come up as we've talked about this is that in that flexibility of not only are you bringing whatever you believe to the table, but the child that comes into your home might believe something different. And so really having that open-heartedness to support them through that sounds like that's important at LFS too. So let's see, Maurice, can you tell us a little bit more about the actual licensing process? About how long does it take? What can parents expect if they do decide to take this next step?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like right now, it's COVID-19, so things have changed quite a bit. So we're doing virtual training, which is actually very helpful because I do training for both the Tidewater region as well as the Richmond and surrounding county. I could do them both all at once. And so this is a great opportunity to do that. So the process is, you attend information meeting first to get information about whether this is right for you. You want to make an informed decision whether this is right for you and your family. Then afterwards, we schedule the training. The training is usually lasts about a month. And then afterwards, you start the home study process. And so throughout the start of training all the way through the home study and being approved, there's some variables, whether you miss training because of the weather or you're sick, but then, it takes between 3 to 6 months for completion.
Got it.
Wonderful. The process of licensing, we've heard various time frames throughout the Foster Care Aware, but I want to reemphasize that it should take time. This is not a light decision. And so
Yes.
you really do need to assimilate all the concepts of foster care and how much your life will change when you take on these children, particularly if you don't have your own trauma background, or if you need to get in touch with your own trauma background. You need to understand who you are coming to the table and be prepared for a major shift. So once you have licensed as a foster parent, what supports does Lutheran Family Services offer to its foster and birth families in support of these children?
Certainly. I'm sorry, Maurice.
Go right ahead.
So once you are approved with the agency and you do get matched with a placement, we have intake workers, one for each office. And so they really work with the families to make sure that we can find the right match. We tell all of our families that, you're not here to find a kid. We're here to find a home for the kids that are out there. And so we get the referrals and we find the match. And then once the child's placed in your home, then, we give you as much information we have. We have a worker who is assigned who comes out to the house. Could be once a week, could be just a couple times a month. It really depends on the needs of that particular child and family. But we are a phone call away. We have an on-call crisis hotline that the families can call. We have ongoing training after approval as well that's required. We've even done individualized training. So say if you have a child maybe diagnosed with autism, that's not something we necessarily cover through the initial training, but we can do one-on-one training with you to understand this child's needs better. And so the child could have an easy transition into your home, and the family has a better understanding of what they need to do to be flexible and meet that child's needs.
That's
Brilliant.
fantastic.
Yep, I love what you said, Amy, about just having that perspective even of just, this isn't about us finding a kid for you. This is about us placing a child in a home that will suit them and their needs. I just think that's so important. For some people, I know that they do have adoption on the mind. And of course, with foster care, the first goal is reunification. But if and when adoption does become an opportunity, is that something that LFS also supports and can help with?
Yes, we've actually had a lot of our foster parents that if the child does not return home, they do adopt the child. We just found out about one last week that finally finalized. We're very excited about that. So we do have a large percentage of our foster parents that do end up adopting the children if they don't return home. We have had some that have helped with the successful reunification as well with family members. But we don't do adoption only. All of our families need to be willing to do foster care. And if they're open to adoption, we certainly support that and wrap around any supports that we can to help in that process.
I love that. Maurice, for people who are kind of listening to this and on the edge, kind of considering it, I'm wondering, do you have any words of encouragement for people to either come to the table or, I don't know, something to share that you think is the most important for people to hear?
I think the number one thing is come to an information meeting night. I think a lot of times folks have it in their heart, like, I'll do this maybe in 6 months, I'll give them a call. But really just come on out, get the information, because once you get the information, and we're a small organization. So, when you think of Lutheran Family Services, the word family is in the middle of that. And so we really care about creating a family environment and a family setting. So for anyone who's interested, this is a great opportunity to have an extended family and really, connect and know that there's a lot of kids out there that need a home, and a lot of them are 12 and older. And so they're the ones that feel like, oh, I'm forgotten. Everybody just wants the babies and the younger kids. So this is an opportunity to learn about those children who are teenagers.
That's so important because, at any age, people need families.
Yeah, definitely.
Maurice, I think that's really beautiful. Can you tell me, I know you spoke a little bit about Richmond area and Hampton Roads. What is the geographic span of Lutheran Family Services for those listeners that might be in other parts of Virginia?
Yeah, this is great. Basically, what we try to do, we try to go out as about an hour away from the office regarding families that are in that vicinity. So between the Newport News office and the Richmond office, we could go and travel to an hour out. We want to keep that cushion space of an hour because we know that dealing with traffic and timing and coming to the office when we used to do in-service, we don't want families driving home 11 o'clock at night just to come back from a training. So we figure an hour is a good time span of that. Amy, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
No, that's perfect. We do often get referrals or families interested from other parts of the state because years ago we did have foster care services in the western part of the state in Northern Virginia. And we don't have them anymore in those areas, but we certainly can provide referral sources. So oftentimes we do get inquiries still from those other areas, or people that worked with us years ago will call us, but we will definitely help to connect you to another agency if we can't help you.
Perfect. Amazing. And so if people are listening and they're within the radius and would like some help, they want to come to that information session, or they know that this is for them and Lutheran Family Services is the agency to partner with. Amy, could you tell us what is that next step they should take and where should they go for more information?
Certainly. They can visit our website at any time. It's lfsva.org, or they can just Google Lutheran Family Services of Virginia. There is a tab that just click on that says foster care and adoption. And when you scroll to the very bottom, there's a spot where they can put in their name and email address. And it'll automatically submit an inquiry to us, and Maurice will contact them with a phone call and talk with them and invite them to our next information meeting.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for being here, for sharing, and thank you, to Lutheran Family Services and to you both individually for showing up and doing this work and helping our community's most vulnerable children. It means the world.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, guys. Truly appreciate the opportunity.
Great to see you.
Great to see you as well.
And a big thank you for listening. Foster Care Aware is all about spreading the word about how we can help the kids who are in care in whatever capacity works for you. Tidewater Friends of Foster Care is here to help support you through the journey. Whether you want to be a foster parent, volunteer, donor, or advocate, head on over to fostercareaware.org/nextsteps to learn more.